Alright, yeah, so Kenshi. You know, it's a pretty tough game, right? Well, actually, the people who tell you that are openly lying to you. Kenshi is a stupidly easy game. And if you don't believe me, watch this video. It takes like 5 minutes, or 5 in-game days to like reach the end game. It's not a challenge. Alrighty, so really quickly before this video starts, the strategy that I'm using involves 2 mods. The 256 recruitment limit increase, and recruitable prisoners. Now, these 2 mods are literally like the first and third most downloaded mods on the site, or on all of Kenshi, to the point where I thought that, you know, the game had those mods in by default, or like that was like a feature, not a mod. And you can still do the strategy completely fine without these mods, it's just that you can't go as far. And I'll show you why in detail later in the video. But you know, I just felt like I needed to tell you guys in advance, there are 2 mods, but you know. Now, the first step I like to do for this strat is to go with, nobodies or the Freedom Seekers. The Freedom Seekers difficulty is a really easy it's a really easy game set, but it gives you the most characters. Like, I believe it's either like 5 or 6 people total, a group of 5 others, so I'm gonna assume 6. Yeah. So, for the sake of having more people, I'm gonna do this one. Alrighty. So, the most overpowered race in Kenshi is by far skeletons. These guys are like completely broken. Yeah, so it turns out I didn't really mention why skeletons were completely overpowered. So why don't I just go and do that really quickly. Yeah, so skeletons are immune to all weather effects. You know, from dust storms to death rays, completely immune. They also start with 200 hit points on each body part, and they don't require hunger. Now, what a lot of people think is a downside to them is that they can only be healed from skeleton repair kits, but that's actually a positive, because you see, with humans, when they get injured, they need to bandage up and they need to rest. Skeletons just need to heal, and they're good. You know, it's really an upgrade. The only real downside is that they need skeleton repair beds to get back from all the permanent damage that they take over time. And, you know, you can find those beds and you can rent them out. It's not that big of a deal, but, you know. And they can't wear a ton of armor, but hey, that just means make them all frigging martial artists, you know? Yeah, so, with the skeleton race in Kenshi, they are completely overpowered, but the problem with them is that there's not a lot of them out in the wasteland. Alright, so there's like 3 guaranteed unique spawns for skeletons in the entire world of Kenshi. And all of this, you're only going to get a guaranteed of 3 more to spawn. So you know, that's pretty painful. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to run over and grab as many of the boys as possible. I'm going to just say frick it and go to the Floodlands immediately to grab a unique skeleton there. But this part is completely optional to my strat and more or less just wastes time. Alrighty, so if you're taking a little quick pit stop over into the Floodlands, you'll quickly realize that the place is very wet. I don't believe the water is acidic. I'm 90% sure anyways that it's not acidic. But yeah, this area is like pretty much completely dead. However, there's a lot of iron spiders here, like more than in the Deadlands, and there's broken skeletons that will randomly roam around. And they have like 60 plus stats. Oh, hey, look. Is that one of the guys right there? Nah, I don't think so, but like they just run around with like heavy weapons and they go clubbing people. So, you know, you kind of got to be on the lookout for those guys, but other than that, this place isn't really that scary. And you can definitely just sprint right over here if you just book it. Now, if you're doing this strat, your goal out in if you're taking this detour, the goal you're looking for is this this tower right here. It's called Burns Tower on the map, I believe. Or this is the abandoned tower. I'm pretty sure this is Burns. Yeah, there's Burns. But, yeah, so you want to come here because this is where... Well, you don't have to, but you want to come here because there's a free skeleton recruit here named Burns. And, so, yeah, this guy, he's basically, like, a free recruit. And he has, like, plus 10 or 15 stats. And he's also got this tower. Now, this tower's a good pit stop because, one, there's a lot of free stuff in here that you can take and sell. For the sake of this run, in case you skip this area, I'm not going to go here. I'm not going to loot anything here. But it also has a skeleton bed. Or skeleton repair bed. These things are invaluable early on because whenever skeletons get hit, even though they have 200 hit points, and they do, whenever they get to regenerate it regenerates really quickly. However, they take permanent limb damage, and this is the only way to get rid of permanent limb damage. If that makes sense. Our next objective is the Deadlands. And you might have noticed that, well, unless you spawn on, like, this half of the map, for whatever reason, when you started this strategy, you're probably going to have to go through some of the Holy Nation territory. And you might think, uh-oh, those guys hate robots, and it's a bad idea to run through there. Honestly, friggin' they're bad. They're bad at hunting you down, so don't worry about it too much. Oh, I'm in the Cannibal Plains. Uh-oh. I went the wrong way. Our next area that we're going to is called the Deadlands. And, why is it dead? Because it rains acid and strikes lightning every 5 minutes. And there's also a bunch of these destroyed little robots. But we're coming here specifically to go to an area called a town called Black Desert City. And in this town, there's a free skeleton recruit. To be honest, he's kind of ass, but we're just trying to grab as many skeletons as possible right now. So anyways, this dude's really depressing, so you can just spam through here. And yeah, he's like, I'll join you, but only because I'm weak and easily give in to peer pressure. And he's a free recruit. Yeah, we got a squad right now. Now, all these guys can't really take in a fight at all. Like, they'll get their asses completely kicked. So, we're going to want to go and change it so that they're not complete ass. This building right here. It's just right here on the map. This, from the Black Desert City. This right here is the real game changer. And this is completely vanilla, by the way. And yeah, you see all these dudes in here. This is 25 skeletons labeled as broken ones, which are free recruits. You're technically not supposed to be able to see inside until you break down the door, but sometimes the game likes to break. So, first order of business is finding out who is the leader of the skeletons, or of the skeleton army, and it turns out to be Beak. Yeah. So, the reason why I grabbed so many skeletons earlier instead of just sprinting straight to here is because these guys are kind of what I'd like to call pretty spurgy. They attack literally anything that moves that's not in your team. So like if you go to a city, these dudes, they'll just attack anybody in the town, all yelling protect master. So they're a little broken, and they're also broken because their stats are stupidly high. Like look at that, 32, frigging 52, 60 free defense. Like you see that? These guys are completely broken. But yeah, this place also has some loot, if you can pick the lock. Alright, cool. So, hey look, skeleton repair kit, science books, all this stuff. Why are we grabbing all this? To sell it for a profit. So, anyways, this army, yeah, so whenever they see anything hostile, they'll just sprint right over towards it and start fighting it. Oh god, there's two. So yeah, these guys, and it doesn't really tell you who's fighting who. But anyway, so get a robot that has repair, and or that has a repair kit, and tell them to repair these guys. Also, with these dudes, if you rip out any of their components, they die. Okay, so if you want another optional mod to download, you could download the Forgotten Ones, recruitable error skeletons, and that makes those guys physically recruitable, and they don't run off like that. But the problem with them, or the reason why I don't have it downloaded right now and using it, is one, to show that you don't need it to do what we're about to do, and two, it's kind of overpowered to physically be able to recruit them, if I'm being honest. Like, pretty sure you could rush through like Cheater's Run and Sonar Stark and just 1v1 Catlon and probably win with this army when it's physically recruitable. So that's why I don't have it, but you know, you can do you. Alright, so yeah, whenever they get into any combat for any reason, you can then go and pick them up. Anyways, yeah, just pick up as many of them as possible. You're not going to need all of them, I'd like to say, but you are going to need a decent amount. But yeah, so all the skeletons that you aren't picking up, even if you have a guy tasked to robotics, he's going to have to manually repair all of them. Like, that's a dumb mechanic. But you can still make it to the next place I'm going to point to. Okay, so our next location is called Venge. And this area is special. Why? Rain's death lasers. And yeah, like the definition of a friendly place to be in. And yeah, it's just a fun area. Now, skeletons are immune to all weather effects, and apparently death lasers are considered weather effects. So yeah, that's another reason to pick skeletons. So is like frigging poison gas. So again, like all weather effects, skeletons are completely immune to. So, you know, skeletons might be considered a little broken. Okay. Now, this area isn't dangerous just because of the death rays. The rays of fucking death coming down on everyone. It's also dangerous because there's a bunch of headless robots running around. And they have a main point of operation. And we're going to be going there, you know, giving them a little visit. Okay. So, over here, specifically right here on the map, when you first come here, it's called the Old Control Tower. Now, the reason why you want to be here is because it's really good. There's a shit ton of loot in here. And it's kind of tough. So that's why we brought over all these crazy skeleton mercenaries to do all the heavy lifting for us. So, yeah, let's just get in there and shred. Okay, whatever. This seems like enough dudes. Anyways, all of my guys are injured, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, we're out of med kits, or robot repair kits, but there's more inside, so doesn't matter that much. Anyways, I'm gonna set all of my guys to peaceful for this area, and I'm gonna let all of my robot mercenaries do all the fighting. And since these guys, I can't permanently recruit them, once we get inside here, I'm not really gonna care too much if they all die. But these dudes are really overpowered, so if you want to hold on to them yourself, you definitely should. Anyways, hello. Welcome to Pain. Yeah, beat them all friggin' down. Anyways, so, there's two mercenary bounties in here, Ponk and Screamer the False. They're worth 20k each. But they're really good robots, so they're kind of worth holding on to if you have the prisoner recruitment mod. Alright, yeah, but there's a lot of really good loot in here, like AI cores. So, you know, kind of worth grabbing. Guy literally just got lobbed. Anyways, they're like trying to talk about like kidnapping your robot guys. Which is funny because we're kind of swarming them right now, and they should probably be a little bit more focused on not dying. Mug him down. There we go. Alright, so yeah, these guys went down. Semi-easily, you know, like that was the hardest part by far. Grab them all. Okay. Vansu. really quickly repair the guys that are about to bleed out and die. Now, if you look at what these guys have equipment-wise, Me Too weapons and repair kits, but, you know, mostly the fact that they're carrying the highest grade of weapons materials in general. So, you know, that's really good. What else is really good is that if you climb all the way up here, you are going to see that there's a skeleton in here that's free to recruit. And there's 2 robot beds in here. So, if you don't have any, if you're running this game without mods, what the goal of the game is at this point is to just repair up your guys and leave the rest of them to die, and just like go throughout the Deadlands, because there's a lot of locations in there that's got a bunch of loot, and you just like rinse and repeat that, just repairing your dudes. And yeah, you're pretty much set. And just like run back here if your own characters get weak. And by the time you lose all of your skeleton followers, you yourself should probably be pretty strong and capable. However, if you're running the game with the 2 mods that I'm going to use and show off in this to get to the full effect, use your own guys to grab the enemy thralls, most notably like the normal thralls, not the weak thralls, and put them in these cages that are up here, because we're going to be recruiting them to increase our numbers. And then we're going to eventually outgrow all of the normal skeletons, or all the broken skeletons that we started with, and get those thralls, and then go from thralls to other robots, and just like, you know, basically like pile up your numbers until you have an uncontrollable amount. Anyways, you're not going to be able to recruit these guys right away. That's going to be for later on. So, with the mod, you can talk to anybody you imprison, like thralls, for example. And for this, it's going to be a code that you got to punch in, basically. And just in case you guys want to do it for yourselves, or figure out the code on yourself, which, by the way you figure out is solely by trial and error. If you want to do that, you can. I'm not going to show me putting in the codes, but I'll put it in the description of the video in case you guys want to do it yourself, or figure it out for yourself. And if you don't want to figure it out for yourself, the code will just be right there. So I'm going to go grab my code really quickly. Okay, so now we got the guy recruited. Now we got this guy. Normally, like, you can rename them to like whatever you want to. For the sake of the video, I'm just going to leave them all as what they are. And now what you need to do is you need to find your guy with the highest lockpicking in your group. So this guy. And yeah, pick the lock on the cage. And yeah, you just rinse and repeat this code. Anyways, and what you just do that, you grab all the robots in here, and then another good place to go to, which is right by here, is the Deadlands. There's like a lot of like Deadland workshops, and there's skeletons in there that you can then beat up, capture, haul back over here, forcibly recruit them, and you just rinse and repeat that strategy basically until you get like an army. And like, you know, like 6 days in, 5 days in, maybe a weekend in Kenshi, and you got like a full-scale army, and you can march basically wherever you want and just start, you know, kicking everybody down. This place is actually completely fucking loaded with loot too, so you can just run around in here and grab a bunch of AI cores and a bunch of good weapons and science books. Ancient science books. Yeah, it's a pretty good place overall. Anyway, so that's my strategy for the most part. I do hope you guys enjoyed learning how to not be bad at Kenshi. And yeah, if General Sam knew of this strategy before he did his little Let's Play on robots, I feel like he wouldn't have spent like 5 weeks playing the game straight.